Do you have 2 seconds for God? Nice, let's go. If you have a few more, I want to share with you the story of David. So David started out as a shepherd. He was just a kid in a field watching over sheep while his brothers were out doing the important stuff, like at war, at battle. And one day the prophet Samuel came to their family and he was going to choose the next king of Israel. And so Jesse, the father of David, and all his other brothers lined up all the strong and impressive brothers of the family. But God said, nope, it's none of them. And Samuel asked, do you have another son? And Jesse was like, yeah, but he's out watching the sheep. And Samuel was like, go get him. So they brought David in, and God said, that's the one. Because people look at the outside, but God looks at the heart. And then one day, Israel is at war with the Philistines, and there's this giant named Goliath, and he's taunting and talking trash to Israel for 40 days. He's 10 foot tall. He's way bigger than everyone else. He's taunting and talking trash to the Israelites for 40 days. But then David shows up, and David was literally on lunch duty. He was just bringing lunch to his brothers. And David looks at the giant and he says, man, why isn't anyone doing anything about this guy? And they laugh at him. They're like, David, you're just a kid. Go back to tending the sheep. But then David's like, no, I'm not going to let this happen. I'm going out there and I'm fighting that giant. So he went out there and he took the giant down with just a sling and a stone. And then David becomes famous after this. He becomes the guy. But the king at the time, named Saul, got very jealous and tried to unalive David. So David had to run for his life for years. He was living in caves, he was hiding, and King Saul was literally hunting him for years. Now remember, Samuel anointed David to be king. But David didn't become king until he was like 30 years old. And David was anointed at like 15 years old. And so during this time where he's running for his life, he's writing a lot of the Psalms. And he's just spending time with God. He's feeling tired. He's feeling like, God, why is this happening to me? He's feeling forgotten about. But eventually he becomes king, and Israel enters one of its greatest seasons. But one day, David is at home, where he actually should have been out at war. But he was just at home, probably chilling, eating some grapes. And he goes out to his balcony, and he sees Bathsheba, who she was married. But David gives in to temptation, and he sleeps with her. And she becomes pregnant, and so David tries to cover it up and hide it. But when that doesn't work, he sends her husband, Uriah, to the front lines of the battle so that he would be unalived. And he dies. It's one of the darkest moments in David's life. And David realizes he messed up big time, and he repents. But David continued to lead Israel until he died. And when David died, the Bible still calls him a man after God's own heart. And as you could tell, David did not live a perfect life. We all know the story of David and Goliath, but no one talks about the other messy, dark moments of his life. But I think his story is so relatable because we all fall down, we all mess up. And I think David's story reminds us that God doesn't use perfect people. And it doesn't matter how bad you've messed up, God will still forgive you. And I want to speak to someone who feels like they're too messed up and too broken. If God could still use David, he could still use you. All right? Can I get an A? Man.